Tepu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Haru Nefer. This is Qesankh Kaparu with another exciting video for you. And in this video, we're going to talk about the black man that created the airplane before the Wright brothers. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe bell to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. If you want to know more about our spiritual teachings, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. It's up to you, and there's no obligation. You can cancel at any time. You will get exclusive access to instructional videos on the esoteric, videos that will teach you how to meditate, proper breathing exercises, how to contact the ancestors, how to invoke spirits. And also, we do have documents up on that Patreon. You can get my ebooks for free. You can just go there and become a Patreon supporter and download those ebooks and start reading. And we have some special things. One is something called Happy Pocket Full of Money, which is a great 7-hour ebook that goes into the metaphysical principles of attracting money. The other thing is we have the 72 sacred words of power or mantras that you can access, and these words of power will help you to attract money, love, what have you. So become a Patreon supporter today. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get the revolution started. So let's get right into this. A lot of what I see on other channels, and I'm not trying to put anybody down, is that we as black men tend to talk a lot about sports and rap. And I don't see enough conversation centered around anything regarding technology or invention. That's really put on the peripheral. And it's really sad. And I'm not a sports guy at all. I do follow a little of mixed martial arts. But as far as sports is concerned, it's a dead subject to me. I'm not into that. But when we start talking about Elon Musk or great inventors or black inventors, I'm all ears. And unfortunately, we are not. And it's become a type of, it's become very dominant in our culture, let's say, that we know more about Jordan and his stats than we know about any of the inventors, black inventors. We know more about Tupac or Biggie than we know about any of the famous inventors of yesteryear, including going all the way back to Kemet. Not many people know about Imhotep. He was a multi-genius. He was an inventor. He was into medicine, So we're not really educated, even though we have access to all this information on our fingertips on the internet. And it's a damn shame that when we collectively as black men come together, the conversation is dominated by sports and rap. It is so sad. And our view is so myopic, because I'm going to tell you that I started talking about hypnosis and helping people do hypnotherapy. And when I would go into the black community and talk about that, people had no idea what hypnosis was. I'm like, this is the 21st century. Are you telling me you don't understand what hypnosis is, or NLP, neuro-linguistic programming? And that's because we center on just a few subjects. And those are the things we tend to just stay with. And we don't go outside of that. Take, for example, this whole discussion about passport bros. And people who are against passport bros going overseas, and they're shaming them for going overseas to meet women. Anytime anyone wants to go overseas to broaden their horizon, that is a plus. There is no reason to shame them or put them down. But that's how we are. It's the same way when we say, a brother starts talking I don't know how you would say smart or he shows his intelligence, people will say you're acting white because our culture is messed up. It truly is messed up. And one of the things I want to bring it back here is that there was a great black man by the name of Charles Frederick Page who invented the airship or the airplane before the Wright brothers. He got a patent for it in 1904. How many people know about this? Because obviously a lot of our history has been buried, but who was the one that went and dug it up? We're not exploring enough of our past, of our own history. So I want to take a look at this because this is revolutionary. When I heard about this, I was just like, what didn't we do? You know what I mean? We did everything in spite of the oppression, the slavery, and things of that nature. You know what I mean? Sorry, this is not what I want. So just hold tight, please. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Let me just see where we're at here. I'm sorry. We have just got to learn to expand our horizons, you know? All right, so let me just hold on 1 second. I'm going to change that because that's not what I want. All right, let me see. This is it. All right, so we got black inventor Charles Frederick Page created airship in Louisiana before the Wright brothers. Yeah, all right. So let's. The Wright brothers are known as history's flying pioneers, the first to invent, build, and fly the world's first successful airplane. The legendary test flight of their plane, called the Wright Flyer, took place on December 17th, 1903, at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. These days, that same plane hangs from the rafters of the Smithsonian Institute's National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. National Mall. What you won't see in that same museum is Charles Frederick Page's airship. The black inventor applied for a patent 8 months before the Wright brothers took flight. But why isn't it there? Well, that's part of the question posed by Abigail Miller of Slaughter. So it says here, Miller noticed a display about Page in Louis Armstrong's New Orleans International Airport in New Orleans. She was returning from a trip and time was short, so she didn't have time to stop and read the exhibit's panels, but she did take note of Page's name as well as model of his airship in a glass display case. He was a Louisiana inventor, Miller said. Why didn't his invention receive more attention, and what happened to it? Well, first of all, Michael Wayne said, note the year 1903. Page was African American, and the Jim Crow era was alive and well in the United States. Charles Frederick Page was an African American born in 1864. The Pineville historian said there is no census record with his name on it, but he was born in either Rapides or Caddo Parish. Sorry, he was actually born enslaved. He eventually married his wife, Ida Kelso, in 1880. The couple settled in Pineville, where the couple raised 13 children. That's a lot of children. He dug coal for a living in Pineville, and by the 1890s, according to an interview with his daughter in the Alexandria Daily Town Talk in the 1930s, he saw a mosquito hawk flying, and he said to himself, if a mosquito hawk can fly, I can fly, Wayne said. He built a 2-story wooden house in Pineville. A state historian marker indicates the location of his home on what is now LA 28 East in Pineville. And it was there that he invented an airship. It was more about a balloon type plane, but it's now being heralded in a major exhibit in the Black Inventors Hall of Fame in war-torn Jersey, said Wayne, who self-published the book Charles Frederick Page. and Leo Argento heroes in the in the birth of aviation in America in 2022. This is a story of a Black man who patented a version of his airplane before the Wright brothers. So this is just an article that's kind of written very poorly too. I don't know who wrote this. And that's page there. But let's take a look at something else, which is really good that goes a little deeper too. Because I was able to find this video on Facebook. All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's see if this is the right one. Share. And let me see. Let me play this video right now. Turn on the sound and play.
Pineville, and then shipped it off by train to St. Louis, Missouri, where he was going to fly the airplane in St. Louis, Missouri, and then become a chapter in all of our history books.
But the aircraft never arrived at the World's Fair.
His plane was destroyed or stolen, possibly due to the fact he was an African American.
Page got a patent for his airship in 1906, before the Wright brothers. But Page's story takes an unusual turn. He planned to enter his airship in a competition for a $100,000 prize at the 1904 Louisiana Purchase Exposition in St. Louis.
He took his life savings. He built a working model, tested it at his home in Pineville, and then shipped it off by train to St. Louis, Missouri, where he was going to fly the airplane in St. Louis, Missouri, and then become a chapter in all of our history books.
But the aircraft never arrived at the World's Fair.
His plane was destroyed or stolen, possibly due to the fact he was an African American.
Page got a patent for his airship in 1906, before the Wright brothers. But Page's story takes an unusual turn. He planned to enter his airship in a competition for a $100,000 prize at the 1904 Louisiana Purchase Exposition in St. Louis.
He took his life savings.
Okay. This is so sad for this man, Charles Page, to put all of his money into this airship or airplane, have it shipped off so he can compete, and it disappeared. It never made it to its destination. For if it had, we probably would have known his name before the Wright brothers. And as you heard, this is during an era of slavery. And one of the things that happened then was a lot of black men and women were applying for patents because they had created inventions to make their lives easier. And in fact, it's now becoming widely known that Thomas Edison stole a lot of his inventions. One of them was the filament, I believe, from Lewis Lattimore, a black man, to make the light bulb. So we don't hear this credit to black men and women. We only hear about people like Edison, who even stole from Nikola Tesla, a white man. Edison couldn't even be trusted back then, but he did pay his assistants. So a lot of people came to him to get funding for their inventions. So much credit has to be given to Charles Page for not only his invention, but doing it in a time of slavery. I mean, he managed to become a free man, but still, can you just imagine the oppression, the ignorance, the violence shown toward a black man who demonstrated some semblance of intelligence? Not even talking about the hate that he got from his own people, because you know how we can be when we see one of our own trying to make it like crabs in a barrel. So again, I got truly inspired when I heard about this story, because his airship, again, predated the Wright brothers. This shows you, even in a time of oppression, we still rise. Something is within us to not give up, to stand up and say, I won't be a footnote in history. I am going to be somebody. I'm not going to be judged by the color of my skin. I'm going to create something. I'm going to become history. And these men and women did it. But yet today, here we are sitting around talking about Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Gorilla. And that's designed. They want us to talk about those things. They don't want us to know this history. They don't want us to talk about technology or starting our own companies. They don't want us to get into that, because that would displace them from their positions of power, because they know the greatness that lies within us, because we built the pyramids and we can do it again if we just stop focusing on this rap and sports, as if when a sports team wins, we gain monetarily from it. No, we don't. We gain nothing from their victory. How many other Charles Pages are there out there that we don't know about? We already know that a black man, Benjamin Banneker, was a great astronomer and helped in plotting out the Washington Monument. Who else is out there? I'm so sick of every time they make a slave movie, we clap and we're like, oh, I'm so glad they're showing our history. That is not our history. When they came out with that movie, The Woman King, I tried to explain to people that we have to be stopped. Our depictions have to stop being shown in light of people in the jungle. Native tribes people. That's not who we are and who we were. But we're so satisfied with those little breadcrumbs. I said, why are they showing the Woman King when they could show the great African Kemetic queen Hatshepsut, who ruled alone, who took part in the battles, who created her own makeup line? She went down in history in Kemet, in the hieroglyphics, the sacred Metu Neta, as one of the greatest leaders of Kemet, a woman, in a time when in Europe, women were so oppressed, they were considered property. White women were considered property, couldn't speak up, had to know their place. Meanwhile, in ancient Kemet, land of the black people, black women were ruling. But yet we're so happy with these little minor depictions of tribes people, because Hollywood doesn't want you to really know your history. And you don't want to know it either, because you're so caught up in Tupac, as if he was some great leader or great man. He wasn't. I'm sorry. Yes, maybe he had some good lyrics. But that's not going to, the lyrics is not going to free us. Do you understand? You are great. You are God man, God woman. Start acting like it. The culture is busted. Let's fix it. If you like this message today, please donate to the channel. This is Qesankh Keperu, son of my aunt Tahuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, I'm in Wright.